Hi, welcome to the American Woodshop. I'm Scott Phillips, and today it's all about creating your own custom lighting. Make your mark in this world and be different. So stay with us to learn how to create your very own lighting accents.
The American Woodshop with Scott Phillips is brought to you by
Woodcraft, since 1928, providing traditional and modern woodworking tools and supplies to generations of craftsmen. Woodcraft, helping you make wood work.
Pro Tools, for tool pros. Rikon Tools.
Woodcraft Magazine. Projects, plans, and web links designed to help you make wood work. P.S. Wood, home of Timberwolf Swedish silicon steel bandsaw blades and super sharp scroll saw blades. A bed to sleep on. A table to share meals. A house that feels like a home. The Furniture Bank of Central Ohio, providing furniture to neighbors in need.
Where would we be without the right light in our home, okay? And if you're a woodworker, you can create beautiful things that people go, where did you find that? Well, I made that. We turned this pine cone column and resin and turned maple to walnut base on the show. And then these luminaries over here, these candles are battery powered, totally safe. Those were a fun scroll saw project, and all those are available 24/7 at our website, so be sure to check that out. Now today, my muse has challenged me to come up with one that will rival that luminary lamp. And so a while back, and we're using LED lights for all of this because you just can't beat it, and it's a three-way light, so you'll see details on that in a second, but look at that gnarly piece of wood. I mean, it's just grand, and it came off of this turning. That's big leaf maple burl, and so this was scrap that some people wanted me to cut it up into pen blanks. No way, that's just too majestic. I mean, look at that wood, it's just gorgeous. The grain on it. And then this is a burl, and then look at this. This came from Brazil, and it was harvested in an environmentally responsible way. And this is called Piqua. I live in the city of Piqua, but this is wood that the tree had been dead for 60 years. In the middle of a wet area, it was the only tree. It had been burned out. It was hollow. They harvested it and got these slabs. And I bought this from a retailer. And now this is the perfect piece, saving all of these natural edges to use as a base. And then what I have to do is marry this piece to it and turn it into a lamp. Simple? Absolutely. So here's what we're going to do. I want to show you the key to all of this, and that is to take a lamp part. You can go to a Habitat Restore or Goodwill and buy a lamp and save the parts. That way it's all UL approved. Or you can buy a lamp kit. And that rod is 3/8 of an inch in diameter. Get the length you need for the wood you're working with. And then what I'm going to do is take this piece, because that's the way I want it right there, to orient it. And the rod's going to go through a hole right in there, and then I'll put a piece of copper here to create the union, make it very uplifting. But for all that to happen, I have to drill a hole for that rod to come all the way through this side piece. This will be cantilevered like that. So to drill that hole, the first thing I need to do is use a Forstner bit right there. And that's a bit tricky, and it has to be that type of Forstner bit. It has to have multiple spurs on it for you to be able to do what I'm about to do. So here's what's cooking. We'll bring this over here and rotate this into a position where I can clamp this with a hold fast, like so. That's what this is. And let me reconfigure that slightly, right there like that. You don't want to be gentle with that. And I'll bring this Forstner bit up, and what I can do then is brace this to my body and get it into an established flat, and need to tighten that just a bit, and create a square shoulder for that mechanism to fit on in the copper tube. Now, watch that. Okay, and I'm going to bring this around, and since this is going to be the base, this is the front, this is the back, I need to drill a hole right now that joins the base for a place where I can put the cord through. So let me ease that up. You'll see what I'm talking about in just a second. So the cord hole is going to go right through there. I'll swing this around the other way so you can see it. A good front vise is key to all of this working well. And I'll hold that securely. I don't want to crack the wood. Ease it up like that, just like that. Okay, one more crank right there we go. I'll get that out of the way. No ankle busters here. I'm being careful. I'm using a spade type bit that's 3/8 of an inch in diameter, chase a hole through the back side. Now, at the right angle, I'm going to drill a hole. Remember, this will be the top of the lamp. This will be where the cord goes through. And this is called a piloted spade bit. And whatever you do as you're drilling, you want to make sure you evacuate the hole. So what I'm doing is clearing the chips. If you do not want that bit to become a permanent part of that wood, you want to take it easy. And as you're working your way all the way through. Oh, good, I'm through. Look at that. That's amazing. You think that's hot? Now that's where the cord's going to go, right there. Okay. Boy, I'm glad that worked, because I only have one piece of wood like this. That's perfect. Now, how did I make this? Well, as I said earlier, this came as scrap from that burl blank that I cut out, big leaf maple burl, and I used a bandsaw. And so at the bandsaw, I simply cut it round, following a circle, and then once that was cut out, it was easy to save this for just the right project. Now, let's head outside to sand these work pieces to perfection. What's the most important thing about sanding? Wearing a dust mask, a good one at that. And working outside's even better because you don't have to deal with the dust that sticks all over everything in your shop. Now, here are the 3 sanders that I really like. I like the 5-inch over the 6-inch random orbital sander. Why? You have more effective torque and you can flex into the curves when you sand. And you'll see more on that in a second. This little detail sander, the triangular shape, is great in tight spots. And yes, the bane of most woodworkers, a belt sander. You go, you really can't do much with that. Well, I don't know how you're using it, because I can do a lot with this as long as I do 2 things. Number 1, that metal plate, the platen on the bottom, keep it flat when you're sanding on the surface and you end up with a great surface. Number 2, use good belts and don't get them so hot that it blows the seam that holds the belt together. Turn it off, flip it around. You get more life out of a belt as long as you have one thing. Let me get that off. It's being a little ornery. As long as that tape seam right there is on a diagonal, disregard the directional arrows, reverse it. It gives you more effective grit. So I'm going to sand this down, and then I'm going to show you how in the world do you sand all these super tight bud spots. Well, we do that on the drill press. Say what? So I'll get set up, do some sanding, then it's back inside to the drill press to sand those. Okay. Going to start out simple on a few of these edges with the detailer. And I'm going to swap this out. Velcro is a great invention. That's all I use anymore. I can't wait to get a finish on this, but before we do that, I must sand all these epiformic buds. You go, what are those from the burl? Well, that's where branch DNA was on this wound on the tree, and the burl is trying to heal the wound, usually fire scars, but not always. And then it just goes crazy, and it produces all those bud patterns that give you that wonderful grain. And to sand it, what we're going to do is use what's called a Sandoflex. And whatever you do, be sure to read, understand, and follow all the instructions that come with tools and products you use in your wood shop. Work safely. And on this one, the Sandoflex, it says don't run it at more than 2,500 RPM. That's why we have this set up at 1,000 RPM, which is just perfect to work into all of these nooks and crannies. Now this has brushes, and this has 60 grit abrasive strips that's curled up on the inside, kind of like an octopus. So you just release the nut when you need to pull more out and tighten it back down, and this flexes into all of those tight spots. So dust collection on, here's my dust collector, here we go. And we'll just sand it down, always presenting it into the rotation in a controlled way. So there's the dust collection. Ambient air cleaner is on as well. So get that clear. And now watch how this flexes in. And that cleans it up beautifully. So I'll get this sanded and cleaned off. And once we get this done, and don't even think of doing this without a dust mask on, and control that workpiece whatever you do. Once we get this all cleaned up, we have to finish drilling one more hole, and then it's on to assembling the 3/8" rod. Man, oh man, that's looking sweet. So on the burl base, and the epiformic buds pointing this way, this will be the front, but the back will look cool too. And so that's the front. You can see how the cord goes through that diagonal freehand hole that we did earlier. That was 3/8 inch in diameter. And now we have this hole that you saw the flat being drilled earlier with the Forstner style bit, multi-spur. And now what I need to do is bring that up and get this located so it's clear and gently. I do not want to crack this. This lamp post is going to go all the way through. That's a 3/8 inch threaded rod right there. And it comes down here and that gets nutted. The cord goes up and in like that. And for that to happen, I have to open up that 3/8 inch diameter hole a little bit. I don't want it too big. I just want it to be a perfect fit. Let's see if that does it. Oh yeah, I can force that all the way through now because it's 3/8 of an inch. But I don't want to do that just yet because as I'm looking at that, I need to get this set up so that it's positioned the right way. And I'm going to use these heavy duty construction fasteners through a counterbore in the bottom to join these two parts together. And that's important because see how that goes in so that this will stay flush, just like that. And you obviously want to plan it so that it doesn't go all the way through the workpiece. So I know exactly where to slide that up. So now I'll swap this out, use the driver, and join these two pieces together. Make sure you drill pilot holes for all of this. And I'm going to ease that down, swap out drivers. And these are, I call them sneaky feet because they're so easy to do and they elevate this beautiful burl base. And obviously I have pre-drilled all these holes. That's just a 1.25 inch dowel rod right there with a hole through the middle. Needs a bit of sanding there on those. But let's bring this up, and this has to come around like this right here. That's because that's the front. Right there as that drifts down, and that looks good. And I've inserted the rod now and nutted it on the bottom. Nothing else with the lighting yet because we have to do the finishing. Okay, I'll get this board, the scrap board up that I finish on. And we'll be using arm seal. You go, wait a minute, that's bothering me. What are we going to do with that? Well, right here, this is ordinary copper pipe, and you use a hacksaw to cut that off, like so. Steel wool it to get just the right look. 4/0 steel wool. Watch those sharp edges from the cut. That's good. And that will go up on there like that. And that gives us just the right amount of room to trim that off. But we have to do the finishing now. And this has been tacked off, so it's clean everywhere. And on the burned areas, you need to be careful with that. Because if you brush on the arm seal onto that, now you could raise that burn, and I want to keep that. I didn't sand that off. That was centuries in the making. This slab right here is over 1,100 years old. How cool is that, that it has new life? And so, again, this was harvested responsibly, working with the community and all proper permits from Brazil. And this is big leaf maple burl, and this is the majesty of it right here. This is why you work with wood. When you start brushing out that grain, oh my, it just looks spectacular. That's the payoff as a woodworker right there. I mean, that's just outstanding. It's breathtaking. And every time I turn this on, or hopefully Susie turns it on, it will just bring a warm glow. And then the base is just grand, but not to be outdone. I want you to see the explosion of color and grain that you get from this burl up here. Just look at that. That's just, whew. And it doesn't stop there. This wood just keeps on giving because as pretty as that is, wait until the light illuminates this. It's going to be spectacular. So I'm going to get this all brushed out and all finished. And then we'll come back and put on, once the finish is dry, all the parts, and you'll see the light when she's done. But now it's off to Susie's Barn Shop to see her doing some finishing on her cabinet doors for her tool keep. All right. At Susie's Barn, we've used these, and these are amazing. 1,500 lumens, batteries that last. You use them outside on motion sensors, solar charged, and this thing holds a charge. Great batteries in it, and inside you can just run this to a window and use it, turn it on right there. These are great. Come a long way. Now let's see what Susie's doing. Hey, I recognize this.
Yes. Little did you know when I saw it that I already had in mind for it to be a perfect tool cabinet for me, not you.
Well,
thanks for building it, and I love the doors.
Well, and the doors are coming together,
Yeah.
but you know, it's also built-in clever because I can't take it.
That's right.
It's fixed to the
That's the
wall
point.
now. Okay, now a couple things on this. See these 35mm holes in the back, or pockets? They fit on these 35mm hinges that are adjustable 6 ways. And these are hydraulic, so they're slow closing.
Perfect.
Yeah. Now,
Nice.
as far as the finish, time for you to give us your pointers.
All right, yeah.
Off
Really
we
make
go.
this cherry and oak come alive.
Excellent.
Okay, now it's time for some finishing tips. First of all, you always want to wear safety glasses, gloves, and work in a very well ventilated area, which this is. It's great. You can brush it in and then get out, let it air out. I am using Waterlocks. It's a penetrating tung oil, and it's really going to soak into the grain and just really make that patina of the wood just really pop. And this oak and cherry, it just really goes on nice. And I'm going to brush it out, but you can use a roller or a rag. If you use any rags or anything when you use a finish like this, the tung oil, it can combust. So you don't want to leave any of the rags in your shop. You want to make sure you dispose of all of those. It's always a good idea just to toss them out on the ground after you're finished, and then before you leave, you can get rid of them responsibly. And you can just really see how, boy, that tung oil is soaking into this cherry and bringing the color up. And in the barn, there's a lot of changing temperatures, and that's another reason I chose to use this finish, because it's really going to hold up. The oil is really going to take care of the wood with the changing temperatures in here. And just going to keep brushing this in. Man, that's looking great. I love it. It's going to really show off my tools. So we'll let this dry for about 24 hours, and then we'll put the doors on the cabinet and see how it all looks. All right, got the last screw in there, and let's see about those self-closing doors. Ooh,
It's magic.
I love it. And nice touch on the pulls.
Oh, well, thank you. You have to know your customers.
Absolutely.
Okay, I can't wait to see how you have this trimmed out. Next week, more on that. Let's head back to the wood shop to finish that lamp. The finish should be dry.
All right, get going.
And you too. Now, here's the payoff. The finish is dry on the burl base, and I just used a lamp kit to put the harp up to hold the shade, LED 3-way bulb with a nice daylight 5000K output, which means it's great to read by for me. Everybody's different, but that's what I like. And so let's check it out. There's one that's low, medium, and high power. I love it. Now, why do I do woodworking? Well, if you're a woodworker, you already know that answer. There's nothing more satisfying than using your own hands to create things that enrich our lives. So that's it from the American Wood Shop. Now go make a custom lamp of your own and do it safely, and go with LED because they'll save you a bunch of money and last for years and years. See you next week.
Woodcraft, since 1928, providing traditional and modern woodworking tools and supplies to generations of craftsmen. Woodcraft, helping you make wood work.
Pro Tools. For tool pros. Rikon Tools.
Woodcraft Magazine. Projects, plans, and web links designed to help you make wood work. P.S. Wood, home of Timberwolf Swedish silicon steel bandsaw blades and super sharp scroll saw blades. A bed to sleep on. A table to share meals. A house that feels like a home. The Furniture Bank of Central Ohio, providing furniture to neighbors in need.
For more information on tips behind the American Woodshop and watch free episodes 24/7, check us out online and like us on Facebook.